Do you make mistakes when you're quilting? I never do. Okay, to be honest, I make a mistake at least once every 15 minutes when I'm sewing. And when I do that, I always think to myself, you should be more careful. But then I don't know, what should I be doing? I'm trying to be careful. It's not like I'm making mistakes on purpose. They're mistakes. But if I think about it, I do know how to be more careful. And so what I want to do today in this video is to reverse role. You know how in psychology they make you switch roles where you try to explain things in the other person from the other person's point of view? I'm going to switch roles and be the person who is more careful, trying to explain to the me that isn't careful what I can do to be more careful. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm not normally that careful a person, but if I think through how to be more careful, maybe I'll be able to do better. I don't think I'm going to try to fix all of these things all at once, so don't expect me to stop making mistakes all of a sudden. I want to make you feel good about your mistakes, and I can only do that by making my own. There's two ways I can think about doing this, is to either work on your biggest problem and fix that, and that way you'll make less mistakes overall in your quilting, and then you'll have more fun while you're making it because there'll be less unsewing to do. The other thing I thought about was I could just pick on the thing that I'm most willing to do, the easiest fix, and that way I can just experiment with it and see if it does make my quilting better. And if it doesn't, well, it's not that big a harm because it was a simple change to make anyway, and then I can just choose a different change for a future quilt. Let's get started. A lot of this information may just seem obvious to you and self-explanatory, but are you actually doing the things? There are things we know we're supposed to do and we don't do them, and maybe we can try them and see if they work for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Rule number one is to read all the directions up front. So whenever you're following a quilt pattern, it really helps to read all of the directions from start to finish so you have a game plan of what you're doing and you know what all the steps are and how the pattern designer was thinking about the pattern. When I was making the heart and narrow quilt, I did not read all the directions. I was just following the pictures, and that made me make some mistakes that it worked out okay. But for example here, if I would have followed the directions here, I wouldn't have had this problem with the feathers going in different colors. It's fine, I'm fine with it, but it is a mistake I wouldn't have made if I had followed the directions. Reading through all of the directions will also help you decide if there's any steps that you may want to change. And knowing that up front kind of helps you plan for it ahead of time. You can think through completely from start to finish how to incorporate that change into your design. The secret word for today is start for the brand new year. The other thing about the directions is that you should follow them one step at a time. And a lot of times, I know when I do cross stitch, I just make little check marks, and that's something that is good to do also when you're quilting, is to make little check marks by those steps that you've finished, and so that you can keep track of where the progress is, so that you don't skip any steps and don't miss anything. And the second advice that I have for you is about fabric selection. You should put all your fabrics together that you've chosen all at once so that you can see how they work together with each other. Normally I try to just follow the same colors as the designer does, so it's pretty easy to visualize what the quilt would look like with the fabrics that I've chosen. But if I am changing out the colors, I like to make a little mock-up. What I'm basically doing is taking the percentage of each color and cutting out little squares based on that, so that I can see what my quilt is going to look like at the end. It just helps me visualize better because I can't really see the pattern in my head. It really helps me see if I'm making, for example, if I'm making a coral quilt with blue accents, or if I'm making a blue quilt with coral accents. It's sometimes hard to see that if you're just pulling out, especially if you're making a scrap quilt and you're just grabbing the fabric that you have and the quantities that you have available. If you're putting, say, whatever amount of fabric that you have in front of you, and put whatever other color fabric that you have here, and you may not really notice that, hey, even though I have more of this than I have of this, I'm actually going to use more of this than I am of this. And so it kind of helps you get all that percentages right, so that you know what you get a better feel for what your quilt is going to look like. And these, by the way, are fabrics that I've chosen for my Lupin and Laughter mystery quilt. Here's some of my pinks that I've chosen. Okay, another thing a more careful quilter would do is to make a test block. One, it makes sure that the pattern designer has properly done the math, and two, it also makes sure that you're using the right seam allowances, so that your quilt is going to wind up being the same size, so that your block is the same size as what it was supposed to be. It really helps to make sure that you are using the correct 1/4 inch seam allowance. Sometimes you may move a little bit, you may move the machine or move where your chair is, and it really helps to have that test first to make sure that everything's going to work out the same way. And also it kind of helps you visually see what the block looks like, so that if you do decide, hey, I don't like this proportion, or I don't like this method, or if I don't, whatever it is that you don't like about that particular block, you could change it up before you get too far advanced into the quilt making process. Okay, the next steps are about cutting. So the one thing that you should do is to press the fabric before you start cutting. You can see that I'm not very good at that particular step, but I sometimes do better, and I hope to get even better over time. I think that's one of the steps that I need to work on the most, is to press before I cut. Another thing that a careful person would do is to cut the bigger pieces before the smaller pieces, and make sure that you properly position the cuts onto your fabric so that you can get all those big pieces. It's easier to cut the little pieces from the whatever's leftover is than it would be for you to cut a big piece. And finally, another thing about cutting is the tried and true method. Make sure you measure twice so that you can cut once. I particularly measure a lot before I cut. There's a lot of times in my videos where I'm just cutting out the parts where I'm just standing there staring at the blocks, just so that you don't have to watch me just look at it, because I'm not doing anything but just looking at all the measurements to make sure that they're cut, that I had them correct before I start cutting. Okay, the next few tips are about sewing. Make sure that you follow all of the tips of what to do to make sure that you're using that 1/4 inch seam allowance. The 1/4 inch seam allowance is very important in quilting. Most patterns are based on that 1/4 inch seam allowance. That's what makes all of the pattern fit together properly. And so it's very important skill to learn on how to use that, how to master that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Your test block would help make sure that you've done that. But there are things that you can do to make sure that you use that 1/4 inch seam allowance, such as using a 1/4 inch foot. You can either use an actual seam guide, or you can just you can add layers of painter's tape to make sure that you have that little guide, so you know exactly where it is that you need to be sewing. But it is something that you need to be careful about. The mistake that I keep making is that I look forward to the next thing to sew and not follow the line all the way through while I'm sewing. So when you're sewing, make sure you go all the way to the end of the seam before you start looking for the next thing to sew. My sister was watching me sew, and she pointed out that mistake to me, that little fraction of an inch at the bottom of each seam, I'm actually not following it straight down, and it's kind of veering a little bit off to the left or the right. And that's obviously going to make the size of the block incorrect. Okay, let's talk about pressing now. One thing that patterns don't tell you enough, if you watch a video you'll see it, but if you're reading a pattern sometimes it's hard to know that, but you do need to press after each seam. So if you're sewing a whole bunch of blocks, then you don't have to sew after each block. After each set of directions, you do need to stop and press. You particularly want to press when you're adding intersecting seams. You don't want to sew folds into the fabric. You also want the block nice and flat so that it matches the piece that you're adding onto it. A lot of it that it's not as clear in the directions is that you're sewing and pressing and sewing and pressing and sewing and pressing, and that's something that I had to be reminded of, that it's okay. That's part of the process, is the sewing and pressing, going back and forth. You're not just sewing the quilt together. You're not just sewing the blocks together. You actually have to put that pressing step in between every sewing step. The other thing about pressing is that you want to press and not iron. A really careful quilter would actually finger press the seams very gently so that they're going in the direction that you want them to, and then pressing them down to secure them to make the block as flat as possible. And you just hold it down for a while and then pick up your iron. Another thing a careful quilter would tell me is to think about which way to press the seams so that they can properly nest. Sometimes the pattern will tell you which way to press the seams, but if they don't, then you want to think through. You have to think through what you're going to do next with this particular component of fabric so that you can make sure that you're nesting the seams in the correct direction. The other thing some people do, especially if you have a bunch of triangles that are meeting in the center, you may want to do some special things to make sure that you have that big group of fabric in the intersection. And to do that, you may want to press some seams open, or you may want to spin your intersections to reduce bulk. Let me show you really quickly here. So here is my looping and laughter block, and you can see here on the back that the seams are going this way, and there's a bunch of fabric that's joining here. This one's not as bad, and I personally don't think it's necessary to spin seams here because to me it looks flat enough. But if you had one where particularly if these were also triangles, then there'd be a lot more in the center, and you definitely have a big bulk, like a kaleidoscope quilt. You'd have a big bulk in the center. And one thing that you could do, if I press the last seam the other direction, then that would at least take one layer off from the middle. That's one possibility. The other thing that some people do is to spin their seams. I'm not really good at this, so I don't think I should be the one teaching you this, but it is a thing that you may want to look up if you want to. Basically what you're doing is you're making this seam go down and this seam go up, so you can see how I have a little four patch in the center, and that just helps reduce some bulk in the center of your block. You do have to be careful that you're not pulling too many seams because you do want to make sure you want to preserve the integrity of your seams. Bonnie has some directions on her blog about how to do that. But basically it's just a matter of taking that last seam and pressing it in different directions so that you can see that this is going this way, this is going down, this is going this way, and this is going up. So you just want to make sure that all the seams are going in a circular way. Those are all the ways that I can think of that a careful quilter would make their quilts. And if you can think of any more, please let me know, because there are definitely things that I'm missing. And if you're used to doing things the same old way every time, you may not notice that you're making that mistake over and over again, and it helps to have somebody point them out to you. So if you do notice something, and if you can think of other ways that I can be more careful, let me know. And I can't promise you that I'll stop making mistakes, but I might think about trying them from time to time. But sometimes if I'm in a more careful mood, especially when I'm making a traditional quilt like the Loopin' and Laughter Mystery Quilt, then it would be helpful to know what it is that I'm doing wrong, so that maybe it's a quick and easy fix that I just didn't think about. And maybe other people are also making that same mistake and they just don't know, so it's helpful to know things that you can do to fix your problems. I hope that you were able to find some tips in here that would help you make your quilting project a little bit easier next time. And if you can think of anything else, please let me know. I also hope that you got a last chance to do some creativity for this year. And if you did, just let me know in the comments what you worked on today, and you'll get an entry in the drawing. A second way to win is to use a secret word for the day. This is your last chance to get an entry. I want to wish all of you a very happy new year. I hope there's lots of fun things in store for you this year. I want to thank you for all the support and encouragement you've given me throughout the year. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support and hope to see you again in the next video.